I grew up with 4 brothers and 2 sisters. In a home I like to believe was gender equal. Like most African families, we had chores, but our chores were not related to our gender. My sisters and I do not have to cook food for my brothers. We do not have to wake up earlier to clean the house. And we're not told what were girl things and boy things. And I think this is the greatest gift our parents gave us, was the ability to think and grow beyond the construct of gender. Beyond the construct of gender. My parents are a great example of this. They lived it. My mom would tell me stories of when she first met my dad and the roles were reversed. She was a breadwinner for as long as I can remember. But she'd tell me stories of when he would give her money to go to the market. One day he challenged her. He said, I can probably get double what you get with the same amount of money. And he did. So from then on, he went to the market. So I grew up in a home where I never saw my mom go to the market. I rarely saw my mom cook. And my dad took up the responsibility of bringing up my siblings and I. Now, I never saw my parents' relationship as abnormal. And I truly came to appreciate my family structure when my dad died when I was 17. I was a year away from starting university, and I had this immense fear from watching so many Nollywood movies where the dad dies, the family falls apart, the children stop going to school because the woman can inherit property that she contributed to because of some Nigerian traditional social norm. So I too thought that I would stop going to school. Of course, that didn't happen. I went to university, I graduated, and all my siblings did as well. But I can only imagine how this story would have turned out. And my dad being egotistical and played to some very toxic stereotypes all those many years ago, and my mom not being strong-willed in pursuing her career. So we have come a long way as a continent and as a people since the Beijing conference in 1995, where goals were set to empower women economically, in business, and as entrepreneurs. We can now say that women have professional jobs. And I say professional because women have always worked, but some jobs weren't available to us 25 years ago. And even if they were, women weren't part of the formal economic system and so couldn't benefit economically to accumulate wealth or to own property. So 25 years after Beijing and 25 years into my life, we can now say a lot of women have access to a lot of these things. However, culturally, we're still in the same place. Whilst a woman can have a professional full-time job now, that same woman is still expected to carry the brunt of the domestic work at home, which I think is a little ridiculous for anyone. And I currently live in London, a place that has had a significant head start over many African countries in the fight for gender equality. Whilst day to day I do not experience the same levels of microaggressions as I do when I go back home to Lagos for Christmas, there is still a very obvious gender gap, especially in the workplace, where the fight for equal pay is still raging on. There are not that many women at the top of many organizations, and even where there are women at the top, most times they've had to sacrifice some other aspects of their lives. So, this is within the framework of a place where culturally their social norms are not as disadvantageous to women. On this continent, we have a variety of cultures. We have a variety of traditions. Our culture is important. They shape us. They inform our decision-making. They deter us or encourage us from pursuing certain courses of action. They unite us in a common goal. Now, if this is true, then our culture shouldn't limit or inhibit over 50% of its members. We should continually strive to improve upon our cultures. We should align them to the world as it is today, and it is ours to improve. Today, I can see many young men that are capable of stepping into the roles of things that have traditionally been performed by women, and still are. To fight for gender equality is to accept that there are no men roles and women roles. Instead, there are things that you're good at and things that you're bad at. Most especially, the fight for gender equality is to realize that the success and empowerment of women does not equal the downfall or failure of men. I know my family was the anomaly and not the norm. It was the exception. But I'm excited for the future of Africa. I'm excited for the family structures my generation will create. I'm excited for the laws, policies, and social norms we will implement to enable women to thrive and flourish without the social pressures we put on them today. I'm calling for social and cultural transformation. Our duty as young people is to start thinking radically. So I want to see an Africa where we can think beyond the construct of gender, act beyond the construct of gender, and raise the next generation beyond the construct of gender. Thank you.